We are on.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Wherever you're watching us from, all over the world. Uh, we are happy to be back on our podcast with Mr. Opinion. Uh, Thanks for watching Opinion TV Uganda and following us, and also keep sharing, keep commenting on our videos as we bring you updates every week about the war in Gaza, the conflict between Palestine and Israel. Today we are having Mr. Opinion, and we are going to be talking about what's going on in Gaza and all in general how we came about this situation and how we are here at this moment, especially where we're having the Houthis in the Red Sea and the Americans also attacking the Houthis. America and the UK, what's going on there, and what are the Houthis about these days, Mr. Opinion? If you can maybe enlighten us about according to the situation and what's going on.
To start, to be actually brief, the Houthi are not standing down. The
Yes.
Yemenis are not standing down. They are not playing and they are not joking. Uh, what actually is recent coming out of there, what was recent was that they say they are threatening actually to cut the internet cables that are down that run through the Red Sea. They are threatening to cut. A while ago I was reading something and they were saying that this is
Mm.
like this knowledge of these cables running under the Red Sea in the territories that can be accessed by the Houthi was like to be was they were like this issue that came about bombing Iran. Who kept them all?
Okay.
They are growing by day.
Mm.
Cutting that cable. Cutting that cable means like you're going to cut off a lot of things actually from the world. Let me say it's connecting to that part of the world, Africa and whatever, especially like the Gulf region.
Mr. Opinion, your
Waters
network,
of the
I
world.
don't know what is happening, but it is the video is like holding itself. The network is not good. Sorry about that. I think it's the network issue.
Is it back? Yeah, it was
Yeah, now
network.
you're
Is
back.
it
Yeah,
back?
yeah, you're back.
I was saying that the
Yes.
Houthi to cut off that cable. That cable they have been trying to hide it away from the Houthi, knowing how much leverage like they
Mm.
would have they about that cable. Now that they know about the cable, we don't know whether the US will stop bombing them because they said the moment the US continues bombing their country, they are going to
Mm.
actually cut that internet cable. That is like, I don't know, that cable, I was telling you that it implies like uh,
Mm.
Africa, the whole of the Middle East, a lot of uh, shipping today, they are losing money, billions of dollars and whatever. But if they cut that cable, if they cut that internet cable,
Mm.
banking, these military communications, they go about the whole of the Middle East, the parts of Africa, the whole world will be affected. Those are trillions. We are talking about trillions of dollars per day if they cut that cable. So in this case, they have now first they had the first leverage, America
Mm.
America Instead of peace out diplomatically, they decided to bomb them into submission, which actually doesn't work for the Houthi. When Joe Biden was asked, "Do you think that bombing the Houthi will stop them from attacking the ships?" And what he said, no. Then they asked, but he said that you. Then he said that is it going to continue? Of course. So what is the use of
mm,
wasting millions of dollars bombing the Houthi when you know it's not going to do anything? Yes, you can just talk because their demands are basically simple when you look at it. They are, I keep telling people that this is the only time the Houthi,
mm,
the these regions, all these groups that are called terrorists over what. This is the only time, besides ISIS, this is the only time that they are all aligned in one cause together with the people, all fighting for humanity. And this is the only time that the good guys that used to be the people that used to be the good guys, the Americans, the British, they were their government. It is the only time the governments do not agree with the people in their countries because their people are calling for a ceasefire. These so-called terrorist groups are calling for ceasefire. So the people and the so-called terrorist groups all want the same thing, are all fighting and calling for the same thing, a ceasefire. You get what I'm talking about?
mm.
It is the only
Yes.
time in history
Mm,
all these designated terrorist groups in Iraq, all these designated terrorist groups in Syria, in whatever, all these
mm.
resistance are Iraq, what Hezbollah, all these groups the America calls terrorists and its allies are aligned
Yeah.
with the citizens of those countries that call them terrorists and fighting against the acts of their governments and their allies. You get it's weird and funny.
Yeah.
Now,
Mm,
getting back to the Houthi. Now, the Houthi have leverage. I told you before.
mm.
It was the ship, the routes for the ship. They blocked that one. They were losing billions. If they cut the cable, they will lose trillions. There will be no this military, there will be no internet, there will be no this military coordination, military communication between the Middle East, Africa. They are going to like disrupt three quarters of the world if they do that. Some parts of the world will be cut off completely.
Yeah,
These
that is actually very,
military
very effective.
wait,
Like we find it is going to affect a lot of industries, a lot of economics and commerce, or like within all this region of the Middle East and Africa. And even if you may find in some parts of like Southeast Asia, they may
yes,
be affected.
yes,
Mm,
yes. Banking, internet banking, transactions, these military bases of the US and its allies that are all that side, all of them will be cut off. They will be cut off. And these Houthi are not, I'm not saying, they are not people you take lightly at their word because they have always come through in one way or
mean
the
what
other.
they say. Mm,
They find a way to do what they are talking about. So
mm,
when they say they are going to do something, don't take them lightly. Don't like don't do it them lightly because the thing that actually like threatens everybody is when they come out and say that you were bombing our brothers too hard. So if you bomb us here, that means if you bomb us like with maybe 200 bombs, that means you will have less than 200 bombs for the people, the ones you're supposed to give to Israel to bomb Yemen. I mean to bomb Gaza. So that means we will have absorbed 200 from on their behalf. Don't
mm.
people with that kind of thinking, you don't want to like mess with those people. Yes, America will bomb them, and I know people here are going to say, hey, America is strong, America and Israel. Yes, they are strong. They will go and kill a lot of innocent people, a lot of civilians, a lot of what. But let's look at the last 10 years, America has fought in the Middle East. It has not won any. The Taliban, the Taliban today, the government, they were fighting the Taliban. By then, they were calling them terrorists also. Today, the Taliban are the government. They are dealing with signing with treaties in Iraq. and I think even Afghanistan. There is a difference between winning and there's a difference between starting a war and winning it. There is a difference between killing a lot of people and again winning. It is like, let's put it in this perspective for people to understand. It is like a football match. Two teams. This team can score goals, and while this team is playing, you can affect this team. You can make them get a lot of yellow cards, red cards. You can, in fact, even make their team like you can make them get injuries and stuff like that. But once they score you and the match ends and they have won, all the red cards, the yellow cards, the injuries, of course, their players don't count. They have won you either way. They won the match.
mm.
So this is what America does. They go into a field, cause a lot of damage, a lot of injuries, a lot of red cards. At the end of the day, they score them 1-0.
That's true. Because at the end of the day, the Taliban actually what happened, they failed to they failed to eradicate them, they failed to even get rid of them. And eventually they had to come on the table and let the Taliban actually become the government which is there today in Afghanistan. And so they won, the Taliban won. There's no Americans can say that they won, they failed. Mm. So the same thing with the Houthis.
And
Also, I think what is going to happen, they are going to start bombing and do whatever they are going to do, but eventually they have to sit on the table and they will let the Houthis actually, they will listen to the Houthis what they are saying. And eventually,
they are
actually, even the war in Israel will have to end. It will have to end. It does not matter how long it will take, but it will have to end. Mm.
they are already bombing. They are already bombing the Houthis, bombing. Now they are bombing the Houthi. They bombed Iraq. They bombed in Syria.
In Syria.
You know,
Mm.
you heard of there are three of their soldiers that actually died
Mm.
from a drone attack.
Yeah,
From a
in
drone
Jordan.
attack.
Mm.
They say they died in Jordan, but they died in
Mm.
Syria. Is there illegal under international? They are like occupying the same thing the Israelis are
Mm.
doing in Palestinian land. They are there illegally stealing oil. So these people died in Syria, but they cannot come out and tell people that these people died in Syria because they are not there illegally. You cannot die where you're not. If you're not there, how are you supposed to die there? If you say you're there, how are you there? You
Mm.
understand? So they have to
Yes.
go, they had to convince the Jordanian government to allow them to make it say that these people died in Jordan,
Jordan.
where they claim that they died in some base here, Tower 22. That Tower 22 is actually, I think, located. It is located at the border between Syria, Jordan, and a few meters from Iraq. Still, I think you can see overlooking a Syrian refugee camp. Why are Syrians in a refugee camp? Because the U.S. bombed the shit out of their country, trying to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, which they failed. That's what I'm saying. That's what we are talking about. They fail at every mission. They fail bombing, killing a lot of innocent people. What they did in Iraq, what they did in Afghanistan, that one anybody can do. But are you going to achieve? That military base in Jordan is overlooking a camp, a refugee camp. Why is it overlooking a refugee camp? These people, why are they refugees? I mean, why are they in this camp? They're in this camp because uh, they're in this humanitarian situation, bad situation, because Americans invaded their country and wanted to overthrow their government, and they failed because Iran intervened and everything. And right today, the hypocrisy. Today they are talking about bombing Iran because the drone that killed or that entered past their military defense systems and entered and killed those three Americans and injured several others
mm,
is an Iranian drone. So if you want to attack Iran because the weapon that was used by a particular group, which they don't know when they sold to it, even if they know, is Iranian, okay, let's now count how many countries would be or would want revenge for the weapons that for the American weapons that have been used to analyze their people or to kill their people citizens. You can talk about the people in Iraq that are already telling them to remove their military bases. Let's talk about the Russians because they have been supplying Ukraine with I don't know how huge of weapons, piles of weapons to kill Russians. You understand? Right now they are talking
mm,
of giving Taiwan weapons to kill Chinese. This is what they do. But when it is done to them, let's talk about Israel. They're giving Israel the weapons that are killing the Palestinians are American. The weapons, Israel has a tendency of going and bombing in Syria. The weapons that are killing the Syrians are American. So if we are going to talk of those are just a few countries you can think of. If we are going to say
mm,
that you want to pay because just a drone that passed penetrated through your defense air defense systems and killed your soldiers and injured others is Iranian. If you want to use that logic, if let
mm.
us also apply it on this side and see, or it doesn't apply when it comes to this side, it doesn't apply to them. Is that what they are trying to say? It can work the other side. What kind of bullshit and double
And
standard is that?
of course, Iran has the right to sell their weapons to whoever wants their weapons. If you come looking for the weapons and they are available, why would they? Why wouldn't Iran sell them to you? It doesn't matter whoever you're going to fight. The same Americans are selling their weapons to whoever they want, whoever their allies. They are selling their weapons. Actually, they're even giving for free, like they're giving to Israel at the cost of the Americans. You know, so
And
you cannot blame
on their
Iran because a given group or even Russia is using Iranian weapons. You
and
can't
on
blame
their
Iran.
side, and on their
Mm,
side, it's okay. It's okay for them to do that, but when another person
mm,
does it, it's wrong. You understand?
mm,
There is this
mm,
tendency I was talking about terrorists. The way Americans like to label people terrorists, they label
mm.
when they want to attack a group. Do you know why Americans label terrorism? Like they would say this particular group is a terrorist, this particular group is a terrorist because they don't agree with them. I have been talking about it. It is because they want to make it that when that particular group is targeted, nobody will ask questions because they are terrorists. They can target it at night. Anybody can target those people, and no one will ask questions because they are terrorists.
Yeah,
You get what I'm talking
exactly.
about? They are a legitimate target of anybody. That is why they first labeled the Houthi terrorists.
Mm.
That is why they first labeled Hamas terrorists. For them, when they want to attack anybody, they first say these people are terrorists. So that when they attack
And
them, they don't answer about anybody. They're not
mm,
answerable. How to kill them, how you what it doesn't matter. They are not answerable because they are terrorists.
there.
You get
And
are
actually,
you
they're using that same thing. You know what they're using it for? Like, because they are terrorists, if you come support them, like now they're accusing South Africa that they are becoming the legal arm of the terrorist group of Hamas. You know, so if you
you
label
get
the terrorist, you're not supposed to get any aid from anyone because you're now a terrorist. Yet we are seeing for America, it is giving military aid to Israel to kill the people in Palestine. But
you get
if
the
let's say
logic.
Iran or any other country came and say, you know what, we are giving military aid to Hamas to fight Israel in Gaza, they will be labeled like these people are now supporting terrorists. You understand? So for them, it is okay to give military aid to whoever they support. Okay? But if someone else comes out to say, okay, we are going to support the Hamas or Palestine, let's give them military aid, you're labeled to be supporting terrorists. Then you're banned. But for them, it is okay to give aid, military aid, weapons, whatever, bombs, to whoever they are supporting. You see? So they think people don't
That
see
is
that. But we know, we see.
that is the hypocrisy, the level of hypocrisy. On uh, on 7th of October, the resistance, the Hamas resistance, went to Israel and did carried out an operation. Now, how many people died? Whatever number Israel gives you of how many,
Mm. They are saying over 1,000 people, right? Hmm.
yes, it killed three-quarters of those people. Day to day,
Hmm.
Israel, including the ones they killed, but for it has killed more than 20. So if Hamas, let's use this logic, because what is the definition of a terrorist?
Hmm.
Women and children, stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
If you look at the definition of terrorism, let's say it applies to Hamas, okay?
Hmm.
Today, Israel has more than 20 actually. So why are they not put in a bracket of terrorists? Why are they not in a bracket of terrorists? Because they have done 20 times.
Hmm.
Why are you not putting them in a bracket of terrorists? And these people that why are you blaming the people that are supposed to you are saying that has done 20 times what the other people did, and for you do not want to be talked about?
Hmm. You see, that's the kind of hypocrisy they have. So, okay, like we said, Israel has killed more than 20 times, the number of people were
Yeah,
killed in Israel, okay? But for them,
yes.
they are good guys,
In the
okay?
in the you see,
They are destroying all the residences, they are destroying everything they can, but they are still the good people, okay? Because of what Hamas did.
killing them,
Hmm.
Israel is killing them even in the worst manner than the way Hamas did, in the worst
Hmm.
manner. Now, why are
It's because they've labeled Hamas a terrorist, so it justifies anything Israel does. They are right because Hamas, they are terrorists. They are trying to fight the terrorists. So it gives them the
someone
power to do anything to do, like whatever they do. When they kill a million people, it is okay because they are fighting terrorists. That's what we said. Once they label you a terrorist, they can do anything, and no one will touch them. No one will blame them because they are fighting terrorists. Okay, it doesn't matter even if they kill all the people in Palestine because they are fighting
Mhm.
terrorists. It is okay. It is fine. Okay, but if you kill one person because you're Hamas, it is going to be bad. They can now come and retaliate and kill 1,000 people. And that is okay
someone
because they
today
are fighting a terrorist.
someone today will tell you that, hey, have you forgotten that Hamas took hostages in the West Bank? You know about this deal of exchanging hostages. If that is the only thing that the Palestinian, because the very first time we saw that it released hostages, you remember,
Mm.
it
Yes.
kidnapped 5 times or 10 times more than the hostages it released. You understand?
Mm.
Israel has children, teenagers, old people in their prison that have never been charged for any crime. Kids charged for crimes of throwing a stone at a tank, a military
Mm.
tank. Kids they just kidnapped on their way going to school. But if you're talking of Hamas taking taking, if you're talking of Hamas taking hostages, Israel has thousands, thousands of Palestinians who were kidnapped from their homes, which makes them hostages. You may, for them, when you look at the mainstream media, they are calling them prisoners. Prisoners are supposed to be charged with something, not to be
mm,
kept in prison from the time they are 6 years to whatever years without being charged of anything. They're supposed to be charged of a crime of doing this and that, but they are not charged with anything. They just get them and keep them there. So Hamas took how many Israel hostages? Israel has thousands, thousands of hostages, kids, girls, boys, old people, middle, any age, mention any age. Some
mm.
it has tortured, killed them, but they are, it's okay when they are doing it. When other people are doing it, it's not okay.
That's
People
the
should
kind
not
of
get us
hypocrisy,
wrong. We are
you
not
know.
saying that
Mm,
Hamas taking Israeli hostages is okay or Hamas going and killing those people is okay. But let's stop with the bullshitting. Let's stop with the double standards of saying that uh, because Hamas did this, so it justifies Israel killing over 20,000 people, over
mm,
26,000 people. You
mm.
understand? Of
And
which
you see, the double standard is the American where they are saying Hamas should release these captives which they are held in Gaza, but they are not condemning Israel for holding all these Palestinians in the prisons who are not charged, who are not like, they're holding them there hostage. Also, why don't they condemn Israel and tell them to release these people? Why? Yet you're telling Hamas should release all the captives. Why don't you say Israel should also release all the captives? Because
who
why
had
Hamas did that, it is because they wanted to exchange their people for also what? For the Israelis that they took as hostage. I take your
Simba,
people as hostage, you took mine. Okay, let's exchange. It's a
Simba
one-one. It's
workers.
like it's a win-win. Okay, give me mine, I give you yours.
Have you heard the statement you've made? Hamas
Mm,
took hostages because it wanted to exchange hostage to make a hostage swap of the hostages of the people that were kidnapped by Israel, which means your statement insinuates that Israel was the first to take hostages, which is
exactly.
100% correct. It was the first and it
Mm,
has been taking hostages. Now, on top of taking
exactly.
hostages, these
Mm,
bastards have been chasing people and stealing people's land.
mm,
On top of that, imagine how shameless these people can be. On that very day, this is the party they were making. That party, I don't know how they call it, some Jewish party they celebrate in their culture, is bordering the Gaza Strip. You know, the Gaza Strip is like cordoned off. They put a fence around it. Now, these people come, they take your land, they have killed your people, they have kidnapped your people, they take your land, then they come and make a party here. Just you people, you are hearing the noise in the background. Eh? It's like you're outside, these people are inside and they are celebrating. Now,
mm.
you're like, dang, what are these guys celebrating? Killing our people, taking our land, taking our houses. What is it exactly that they are celebrating? It's like they were provoking these people. What can you do? So they did what they can do. But all of this said, international law is very clear. The occupier has no right to self-defense. However, the person who's being occupied has a right to self-defense in any way he sees fit. You can use a panga, you can use a gun, you can use an axe, you can use a stick. It doesn't matter according to international law as long as you are in self-defense against the occupier. Now, what is this nonsense that is playing around mainstream media saying that Israel has a right to defend itself, Israel has a right to. My dear, if Hamas are Palestinian citizens,
Mm.
anything they can use over anything, and that is the choose to use.
Exactly. Uh, your network again.
We are following.
Your network is not good. Okay, you're on and off. I don't know.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
Okay, I'm getting you now.
I was saying that according to international law, the occupier has no right to defend himself from the people they are occupying. However, the people they are occupying have the right to defend themselves in any way they choose. Use a panga, use a knife, use a gun, use anything. You are defending yourself from the occupier. It's okay according to international law. Now, if Hamas, if Hamas were Palestinian citizens
Mm.
fighting the occupier, let's use this logically. Let's be open-minded. Fighting the occupier, and that is the method they used to they like that is the method they chose to use against
Mm.
the occupier. According to international law, you can't prosecute them because there is no if you are an occupier. That is the method they chose to use. Now, are we still following the law or we are just following anything the US says goes? According to you, are we still following? Because if we are following the law, Hamas
Mm.
can't be terrorists. They can't be terrorists.
They are defending themselves from the
If they are
occupier. Actually, that's what they are doing.
If they are Palestinian citizens and these people are occupying, and according to the law gives the person who's being occupied to defend himself using anything, and that is using any method to defend himself from the occupier using any method. If that is the method Hamas chose to use, are they terrorists? Are they criminals? According to international law, they are not. They are not. So, are we still following the law? That is my question. That is the question to everybody who will watch this video. Are we still following the law or we are following what the US says? Because the US is that who chooses who is a terrorist. Today, the Houthi are terrorists, are designated as terrorists because why? They want the bombing of the people in Gaza to stop. They want what that is what exactly the American people want, the British people, all these people you see demonstrating around the world, that's what they want. But that one makes the Houthi terrorists. They want for humanitarian aid to reach to the people of Gaza. So the Houthi standing their ground and say we are going to impose sanctions on any country affiliated with Israel, hmm,
Mm.
makes them terrorists because for them they said no, we are not going to fight with you. We are going to impose our sanctions in our own way. We will block this road. Any ships going to Israel are not welcome. We don't want to fight with you. Just go sort out yourselves. These are our terms. If you accept them, we'll open the road. You don't need to fight with us. But guess what? They designated them as terrorists. They started bombing them day and night, day and night, day and night, because they don't want to tell Israel to stop killing innocent people. It's okay for Israel to kill as many Palestinians as they can, but it's not okay when the
Mm.
Palestinians turn around and kill Israel. It's not you. These things can make your head like your mind boil. You're like, how do these people think? Like, okay, let's say, okay, Hamas is cleared. Hezbollah is not there. These people in Gaza that they have dropped tons of bombs on, they have lost brothers, sisters, uncles, relatives, the survivors that are going to always have this picture that these people kill their people. They have already radicalized them. They have radicalized them. They have already created another Hamas or another Hezbollah. They have created a unique resistance that is even not attached to the feelings or to the politics of Hamas or any other organization fighting them. This is now a unique one with which is going to be wanting its own revenge, because it's not going to care how this came about, how who was Hamas, who was attacked, because for them they were not with Hamas when it went to attack in Israel. They were not with them. They were minding their own. Until a bomb came and fell on them, killed their sister, killed their son, killed their brother. He's going to want his own revenge. That is a unique Hamas that they have created, a unique group of Hamas that they have created. So, by dropping all these bombs in Syria, Iraq, whatever, Yemen, is Israel becoming any safer? That is the question everybody should be asking themselves. This is just common sense. First, they are not winning Hamas, meaning Hamas is still there, whether they like it or not. It is still there. I hear there is Hamas in Mexico. I hear there is Hamas Hezbollah in Mexico. So just near to America, these days the American borders, about bombing Iran. Then I made a video and told them that you people, if your government tries to bomb Iran, let's leave alone, let's put aside the military capabilities. But given the fact that your borders have been wide open, if you say Iran has many factor groups that fight for it, do you know how many factor groups have entered the US since your borders have been wide open? Because you're entering people daily in Southern are entering your
Mm.
borders, women, children, men. People have testified from Syria entering America freely because these are now open for everyone.
Your volume is off. I don't know what is happening. I can't hear you. Check your volume. Sorry about that. You can hear me? Something wrong with your volume. Guys, sorry about that. I think we're having an issue with the internet, but it's okay. We'll be back. Uh, Guys, sorry about that. Anyway, what we are talking about is the double standards of the Americans and the Western world, whereby for them they think whatever they do, it is just fine, it is okay. But if someone else does the same, then they are labeled as terrorists. They are considered to be the bad people, even if they are doing the right thing. Okay, so that is the Western world. That is how they think, but it's not okay. When we are not saying that Hamas, they did something good. No, killing civilians is not good, and we condemn it. But we say, okay, these things have happened. What can we do to go forward? How do we eliminate and get away with all these kind of scaffolds and conflicts and you know killing of civilians, especially in Palestine right now, where people are dying in thousands in Gaza every day? How do we stop that? It can be stopped. It's very easy. Hamas are saying, give us our people, we give you your people. Very simple. Why is it hard for the Israelis and the Americans to sit down and say, okay, if this is what is required, stop all this fighting to avoid this conflict and stop the killing of civilians anywhere in Israel and also in Palestine? Why can't they do that? But you see, uh, Israel and Americans, they want to put this force to show that they are the mighty, you know, whatever they say, whatever they want to do, it can be done, and no one will condemn them, no one will stop them. So That's why they're killing thousands and thousands of people in Gaza every day, and it is okay. However, the UN Council can come and see it. The International Court of Justice can do whatever they do, the provisions, but they will not be followed till now because Israel has the support of America, unconditional support, like they said. So they're going to kill as many people as they want, as long as either they achieve whatever they want or they don't achieve it, but they're going to keep killing the people. Okay, which is not okay. This thing can be stopped even today. If America said we want Israel to stop killing people in Gaza, it will stop.